This video was originally aired on BitView. If you want to see all of my videos for free without any ads or stupid policies, then please watch my videos there. Gentlemen, a short view back to the past. Keep your composure, Hamm. Composure! Gentlemen, a short view back to the past. 4 years ago, Codemasters were bought out by EA Sports. The acquisition of Codemasters by EA did a lot of terrible things to the company, including forcing their creative hand into doing shit they really didn't want, and making it so they could never make an original game again that wasn't an F1 game. I mean, the only original title they've released with EA helping them was Grid Legends, and Grid Legends was nowhere near perfect, and we haven't heard anything from them since, and it's almost 2026, but that's not the point of the video. That's not the point of the video. Due to their acquisition, a lot of people consider the last true Codemasters game to be Dirt 5, which, first of all, do, and secondly, I don't really think that's the case. In my opinion, the last true Codemasters game is F1 2021. It may bear the EA Sports logo on the box, but because of how late the acquisition came, EA were able to make almost no changes to the final product, so they could only kinda inshitify it, which has always made F1 2021 a bit weird, because the gameplay is a little bit better than 2020, but at the same time, the enshittification was just barely enough to add a tacked-on story mode which makes the game's file size 88 GB, and also led to the removal of classic cars. Outside of that, it's still a really damn good game, but that begs the question, if EA only had enough time to change those two aspects of the game, what did they spend the rest of their time doing? Marketing. F1 2021 was the first F1 game that was marketed like crazy. Yes, all of the other games may have been given little sprinkles of, oh, look at the new Formula 1 games being made, yay! But EA were very desperate to make this game a success, and considering how much it sold, they did that. However, there is one very unique part of these marketing stunts. For any content creators that EA Sports liked the look of that made content about F1 2021 before its release, they were shipped a free goodie box. Now, this goodie box was only ever intended to be given to them, never meant to be resold to the public. And the contents of this box included a copy of the game, dependent on what their preferred platform is, a Pirelli cap, an F1 2021 cap, a VIP lanyard, a pair of gloves, a flag, and a customized shirt. Oh, and a shopping bag. The amount of people who actually received these boxes were incredibly scarce, and EA never revealed how they decided who got the boxes and who didn't. They just sent them out, and they never said anything about it. And so, for the majority of people, these exclusive content creator-only items stayed beyond the walls of their screens. So how did I, some ginger idiot who's never driven a real car in his life, get his hands on all of it? And why do I have two of these? Story's a lot more interesting than you think, so stick around. Okay, I'm gonna need to give a lot of context for this. First of all, I, like a lot of you, didn't know that these existed until I was told about them. Hell, I didn't even know that I had a piece of this until I did a little bit of research into it, because the first piece of this puzzle that I found was someone selling the individual cap, definitely not knowing what it was worth, for £15. I've said a lot of times that I've got the Midas touch when it comes to finding absurd deals online, but that right there, I think, is the pinnacle of all of it. Well, maybe outside of finding a prototype disc for £30. To talk about the cap itself for a little bit, it's probably one of the most unique things in this box, as it was never sold anywhere. It was only ever given out in this little goodie box right here. So, unless you're a person who was buddy-buddy with EA back in 2021, you're probably never gonna get these. You know, unless you get super lucky on eBay like I did. I'll talk about the second part of this collection that I found last, because it probably has the most insane bit of luck for anything I have ever found on not just an eBay listing, but a sale in the entirety of my life. I'm not even exaggerating when I say that. And I got a PC with these specs for £630. Just before the RAM shortage! The last piece of the puzzle that I've got for now is someone who is selling off their own collection on eBay, which didn't contain everything, but did contain another cap, a pair of gloves, the official Pirelli cap, the flag, the lanyard without a card, and that's about it. There is also something quite special about the gloves, but I'll get back to them. These were listed for the longest time at £299, but around December, the person who was selling them marked them down to £99, but I didn't want to get those immediately because Christmas was coming and I wanted some money to get some people some proper gifts, so I was able to score a deal for $79, which obviously isn't ideal, but if it completes almost the entire collection, then I'm more than happy paying that much. So as it stands today, the only things that I'm missing out of this collection are the original box, the card that came on the lanyard, the original postcard that was given to the content creators, and the shopping bag. But I mean, I don't really care too much about the shopping bag because my rare F1 bag quota has already been filled by something that some eagle-eyed viewers might have noticed in the first shot. Go on, zoom in a little closer. Just a bit closer. Yeah, it's just a tiny, tiny bit. There we go. It was touched by a Dutchman. I don't remember his name, though. What was it? Mills? I don't know. In my eyes, and a lot of other people's eyes, the coolest part of this package was a customized shirt that contained the name of the content creator that they gave the package to. Not only does this feel like a very personal part of the box, but if someone else is able to buy one off of something like eBay, you know exactly who that shirt was intended to be given to. Although it's never usually that insane because the only people who were given it were a lot of small-scale content creators, with a couple of bigger exceptions that I've theorized on sometimes. So if you look at mine, it reveals that... I should probably mention what that second eBay listing was. After finding out about the box that my hat came from, I went on a little bit of a voyage online to see if I could scavenge for any other individual parts to add to my collection. And I still didn't know that they had custom names on them because the only reference I had was this picture. And I didn't watch far enough into any of the videos to see the ones with custom names. So after searching around for a little bit, I find this rather odd-looking one with the name of one Sir Chris Hoy. I had to do some research into Sir Chris Hoy, and... okay, goddamn, this guy's a legend. Okay, I'll give him that, I ended up buying it because at that moment, I thought it was some kind of special edition that was intended to tie into some kind of charity thing. But then, after I watched one of the videos long enough to see the customized name, my jaw hit the metaphorical Earth's core. I had just bought a shirt. Not just that, a one-of-a-kind shirt that was intended to be gifted to a man who has been knighted by the Queen! Ignoring how biblically lucky I was to find that opens a rabbit hole, because previously the only shirts we knew about were the ones that were given to content creators, but Chris Hoy is not a content creator. Far from it. So how did he get one? Well, I have two theories, and they both mean different things. A, he was given it because he's a fan of F1. There are some pictures of him showing up to different events after all, and that then opens a rabbit hole of there being many of these shirts that exist undocumented around the world with multiple different important people's names on it. And then my other theory ties into the virtual Grand Prix. You see, for a little bit of F1 history, during 2020 when everyone was stuck indoors, F1 had to wait a little bit before it could return, and it returned at the Austrian Grand Prix. But until then, they decided to get a ragtag group of very interesting people, which changed with every single race, to compete in a little mini championship they called the F1 Virtual Grand Prix. And, if you look at the very first race, Christopher! I mean, he did jack shit in the race, but he's there. Oh, and a little bit of a fun fact, this is also the same race where future Praga Cup champion Jimmy Broadbent was able to beat future Formula 1 champion Lando Norris in a head-to-head duel. How the fuck does that sentence even exist? So, if Chris Hoy was given this shirt because he showed up to those races, that therefore means that everyone who showed up to every single virtual Grand Prix has their own customized version of this shirt. They just haven't shown it off yet. And you know what that means? That means that a Nicholas Latifi F1 2021 shirt exists in the wild! I need it! Let's talk about the gloves. There's a bit less to talk about with the gloves, but at the same time, they're a lot more mysterious. In every box, a pair of gloves were included. However, the color for the gloves were never set in stone. Here are the 6 existing unboxing videos that I was able to find on YouTube. To the left, I'll showcase a little indicator showing what version of the game they got and the country that the creator was from. See if you can notice any kind of pattern, because I wasn't able to.
Vielleicht bin ich bald wieder L, aber aktuell bin ich definitiv.
Some gloves, some racing gloves. These things are very nice to wear.
Look at this. Look at these gloves. I can just line them up. These Puma official racing gloves.
At this point you may be thinking, okay, so it's just the colors that change. What's the big deal?
Fijaos que el detallito, el detallito trae guantes.
That is the big deal. For reasons that nobody has been able to figure out, the pair of gloves that were given to Air Chris gameplays in particular had a completely different color and a completely different pattern to every other known pair of gloves. It didn't look like a pair of arrows anymore with circuitry all over it. It looked like a blue wireframe. And because these gloves in particular were only saw once, that not only raised a lot more questions about what gloves did exist, or if there was even more people didn't know about, but it also made those gloves in particular the most sought after out of all. See you in a couple weeks, guys. You're not gonna see a new video from me, but you're gonna see me on the news after I get struck by lightning 6 times in a row on Christmas Day and live. To tell you the truth, the gloves are actually really high quality. The grip they've got is fantastic, the little bits of padding are really welcome, they don't hurt my hands when I use them, and on top of that, I actually used them to do my first ever fully successful run of the Pikes Peak course in Dirt Rally, which is what you've been seeing background footage of. Yeah! Although I will say, going from not using gloves to using gloves is a very weird experience, because for a little bit, your hands are going, what the fuck, I can't feel the wheel, this is suicide, why are you doing this? And then a few minutes later, they just go. So why did I make this video? Well, it's because these items are almost completely undocumented online. I had to do my own research to figure out what all of these were, and so I made this video to not only talk about my experiences with them, but also everything that hasn't been documented yet. So, yeah, that's why this video exists. And before I go, I'd like to say this. You know what the really nice thing about having 2 really rare things where one of them is in way worse condition is? It means you can have fun with the other.
Okay, so Codemaster sent me this personalized ham hat. That's very nice of them. Thank you, Codemasters.